Hey guys, my name is Leticia and I am wanting to do a demonstration on how to convert wood-mounted rubber stamps to cling. The reason that it's awesome to do this is that you get a more accurate stamp impression when you put it onto cling, because you can then put it into your stamp press whichever one you have. There's several on the market. I have the Misty and I love it. It's actually the older version. I haven't purchased the newer one, but it still works awesome. The other reasons is that it's very much space saving. So several people have had wood stamps in the past, or they still actually sell them. But they take up a lot of space. I know that people have big shelving units in their craft rooms or wherever they do crafting, and so that they're upright and they can look at them. But the space adds up, as you can see, when you are a collector like I am. I found a way to transfer them to that, mainly because I wanted the accuracy of stamping. Being able to put the ink on a couple of times to make sure your impression is done well. So that was my main reason, but it was also space was the other reason. So I actually store mine in binders and have them separated by categories. So anyway, the first thing that we need to do, so I didn't show earlier, but I pulled off, I ordered this from Amazon. It's called the Easy Static Cling Mounting Foam. And you can order a pack of 10 sheets, 8.5 by 11, for about $36.73 right now on Amazon.com. And I found it to be the cheapest area. You can buy them like individually if you don't want to buy a big pack. Sometimes different craft stores will carry just a few of them in a package. Whatever your needs are, that's up to you. The first thing you do is you're going to take this off. Now this is the cling part, so it's not really sticky. I mean, it sticks onto glass or to your stamp press, but otherwise it's the outside of the stamp part. So you're gonna pull that off, and you have a nice workspace. I'm using the We Are Memory Keepers glass craft pad or mat, and I also am using a wood burning tool. I got this for about $12 at Walmart, and it comes with several different tips that you can twist on. And but the one I found that works the best for what I do is it looks like a pencil, so it's fairly pointy, like the pencil, the end of a pencil. So you want to put an impression on the back of your stamp. Because obviously it's going to give you kind of the picture of what the stamp is going to be when it's imprinted. I use a StazOn solvent ink, jet black. You could use whatever color you really want, just one that's dark enough to see on the gray. So first thing you're going to do is take this and put it on your stamp. So because I can't really use a stamp press to impress this onto this cling, I really try to make sure that I do it good the first time. You can restamp it with a little bit of difficulty, but I try as much as possible not to. The big background stamps are really difficult not to, because sometimes you miss a little bit of it. So get it well inked up. But then also you're not wanting to fill in too much of the detail, because you do want to see that when you are looking at what you want to stamp. I do try to kind of see which direction it's going to look the best, or be able to kind of conserve. So I think I'm going to flip it and do it right close. So I use my wood that's on here to kind of guide me to the edges of the cling material. You're better to be closer in than out, because obviously you could miss part of the stamp. Once you set it, commit to it, and then do, of course, your impressing to make sure you get that into the foam. I sometimes rock it a little bit And then you hope that you got a good impression, which I did, not bad. We'll set that aside for a moment and we're going to clean our stamp. So I have some StazOn all-purpose stamp cleaner. I try really hard to keep my stamps clean. Other people's stamps, or just getting them at, you know, a secondhand store or whatever, that the stamps are just full of ink. And yeah, you can get it off, but it's not a fun job. So now the next process is to take the stamp off of the wood mount, which sometimes is a challenge and sometimes it's as easy as eating a piece of pie. So it's glued on. It has the same backing that your new stuff is going to have. So I did pull this one up earlier and then reattached it again so I could stamp it. So it's not bad. It came off fairly easily. You can use a heat tool to soften it, and it does come off really good. Sometimes it comes off kind of chunky and gooey, and you don't want that. This one's not bad, so it doesn't really have too many chunky things. The foam will stick to it perfectly. So you're getting rid of this space taker, which is awesome. So now you're going to get your wood block, and because this is on such a big piece of the foam, I'm going to cut kind of around it so that it's easier to work with. And keep in mind, some of these smaller pieces, if you cut them correctly, you can use them for another stamps down the road. So I cut closer to that. It's good for, you know, a little sentiment or whatever. So the next tricky part is taking it off the backing and adhering it to the actual rubber stamp. So it's just really a matter of what works for you. But I've found that kind of lining it up, looking on both sides and trying to line up as best as you can. Sometimes it's better to go on top of it here. And finding those outer points. And then also the angle in which you are laying it down so that you find the right spot. Pretty darn close. And if you go this way and look straight on, you sometimes can totally see where it needs to be lined up. And checking all the way around. And I think I got it pretty good. So you can stretch them a little bit to kind of manipulate them, but not too much because then they will buckle and you don't want that. So now that we have it on, we have the impression, we have this, then we can now use our heat tool, which allows us to go around and cut this. Now this one's a big enough stamp that you probably could just use scissors, but scissors, they get all gummy and they're, you know, you have to clean them. Put this back on. And so it's your choice. If you have a good pair of scissors and you feel confident, then that's totally up to you. But I do like to use this because it does give it a fairly nice finish. You do, so you're just gonna kind of put that in there and it slices like butter. And I try to do like sections at a time so that, and then check it back, make sure it's not cutting your stamp off. And that you did line it up correctly. As you know, trial and error tells us what we do wrong, and I have done it several times. So this part is kind of fun because you're, you know, getting to kind of see it come around there and slicing it, and it just is soft and it doesn't smell the greatest, I will say. It's burnt rubber, but so sometimes you do need to kind of take a break and get some air because it can get to you. Just take your excess off. I typically like to start inside so that, because if you go this way, it works, but it works better if you go inside and then pull out. So again, check the outside, see how you're doing. Not bad. This one's pretty intricately cut close to the actual image. And then remember, if you get it where there's still a little excess, afterwards we're gonna kind of finish it so that it looks nice. All right, and there you go. So if you're not a picky person and you don't want it to be perfectly cut around the edges, that's totally up to you. But I kind of have a thing about wanting it to be pretty. So you can just kind of take scissors and just kind of go around the edges. If they're fairly clean edges with not a lot of fraying, then the other thing you can do is, well, first of all, make sure that it does get kind of a little bit of like charcoal kind of on it from burning, remnants, so I kind of clean it off. I do sometimes use a old nail file, and you can use the finer side and just kind of get that excess burnt stuff off. But if you want to make the edges kind of nice, you can kind of go along the edges and just kind of smooth them out. And there you have it, a finished stamp. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Happy crafting!